Good day, sir. This is the Group A. This is our video reporting entitled Manual Plotting. So, our learning objectives is describe the purpose of the manual plotting, describe the process of the manual plotting, and describe the terms relating to the other sheet information which are relevant to the manual plotting. So, the manual plotting, in conjunction with a radar, ensure marking one or more echoes within a given time interval, and so determining the target's movement and the reference to the own ships. So, manual plotting allows the navigators to see the whole situation. It helps determine the course, speed, time, and the distance of an object with the use of navigational chart. So, the purpose of this plotting is to have a clear picture of the scenario. So you can also use it manually if the radar is broken, because that is the purpose of this plotting. So the next is the automatic radar plotting, or ARPA. So a marine radar without automatic radar plotting capability can create tracks using the radar contacts. The system can calculate the track, object course, speed, and closest point of approach, or CPA, thereby knowing if there is a danger of collision with the other ships or landmass. So it is a computerized function added to the radar, receives feeds of the own ship's course and speed, as well as the target course and speed, and calculates collision avoidance data, and eliminating the need of users to calculate the data themselves. So the next is the automatic radar plotting aid, or ARPA. So the marine radar with automatic radar plotting capability can create tracks using radar contacts. The system can calculate the tracked object course, speed, and closest point of approach, or CPA, thereby knowing if there is a danger of collision with the other ship and landmass. So ARPA is a computerized function added to the radar, receives feeds of the own ship's course and speed, as well as the target course and speed, calculates collision avoidance data, eliminating the need for user to calculate the data themselves.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, group mates. This is the detection in manual plotting. Detection, the recognition of presence of a target in manual plotting, where a separate facility is provided for detection of targets other than by the radar observer. It should have a performance not inferior to that which could be obtained by the use of the radar display. The aspect of a target describes how much of the vessel's profile we will able to see. That's all.
Describing the process of manual plotting and selection. There are differences of opinion as to which form of manual plotting, either true or relative, should be used, but it is generally agreed that both methods have their advantage. The principle of relative plotting should be understood by all observers, as this is the method which enables the closest position of approach to be determined. The true plot is simpler to understand, and it is considered by many to be superior when there are several targets on the screen. Alteration of course or speed by the observed vessel, carried out simultaneous with or shortly after an alteration by own vessel, are likely to be more readily detected by a true plot than by a relative plot.
So, ever since ARPA was introduced, most maritime administrations have instead that the operator should be specifically trained to use the ARPA, and not just in radar observer. Manual plotting techniques, for instance, a Yoki regulation state that when a Yoki ship which is required to be fitted with ARPA is at sea and a radar watch is being kept on the ARPA, the installation should be under the control of person qualified in the operation use of ARPA, who may be assisted by unqualified personnel. New solar ships carrying ARPA or reduced ARPA required an interrogate input from a gyro and a speed log that measures speed through the water. In the regulation, these are known as the THD, which is Transmitting Heading Device, and SDME, Speed and Distance Measuring Equipment. Without reasonably accurate data from these sources, the ARPA function have limited value. This is discussed further in Chapter 9. Thank you.
Plotting. It is the whole process of detection, selection, tracking, and calculation of target's parameter. So, radar plotting is an alternative for ARPA, and it will be handy when ARPA is not working. So, it is done by recording the successive position of the vessel in nautical chart. So, just imagine your one of your radar stopped working in the middle of the sea, and like I said, plotting is an alternative for ARPA when it is not working. So that's how important plotting is to master in the navigation of the ship.
I am the one who is in charge. In number 3, which is describe, the terms relating to other ship information which are relevant to manual plotting, defining terminology for other ship information that are useful to manual plotting. So the first example is DRM, or direction of relative motion. So direction of relative motion refers to where the relative motion is heading. For more information regarding with this topic, relative motion is the continuous display of target pips at their measured ranges and bearings from a fixed position of own ship on the PPI. Relative motion radar displays the motion of a target relative to the motion of observing own ship. With own ship and the target in motion, the successive pips of target do not indicate the actual or true movement of the target. A graphical solution is required in order to determine the rate and direction of actual movement of target. In finding the direction of relative motion, you need to draw a line from the original target to the actual target and stretch it as far as you can in your direction. So, you need to use the 6-minute rule as a guideline to calculate the difference between the original and actual targets. That's all. Thank you.
SRM, or speed relative motion. The formula is distance equals speed slash 10, or speed equals 10 times distance, because the duration between the original and actual target is 6 minutes in seaway. The SRM might be difficult to predict.